Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I read this article that I will read it to you about 3 times and I couldn't really understand what these guys are talking about. For the past month and a half I've been reading that the Russians are progressing towards Bakhmut, and that is the the toughest fight on the front right now. And I've been in the past, like 3 or 4 days, I've been reading from Ukrainian side and from the Russian side and from the American side that the Russians are really winning in Bakhmut, and then supposedly they encircled it and they got it and the Ukrainians are pushed back. Therefore, the Ukrainians are retreating, losing ground. What kind of euphemism you want me to use? Even Zelensky said that the Bakhmut is destroyed and the Russians blah blah blah. That means that they are losing, the Ukrainians. Now this article starts with a claim, and then during the whole article I couldn't figure out how they support that claim. So, because in our lives, in our civilization, and our, for normal people, when you make a claim, you have to bring facts and evidence to prove that that is true what you claimed. You can't say, hey, I have a gut feeling, or I think a crow told me, or someone else might have looked at me somehow differently and that proved to me. No, you need proof, evidence, facts. That's the way it used to be. So this article comes from Ukrinform, Ukrainian media outlet. And this is the title. This is from today, the 15th of December 2022. Listen to the title. Ukraine at OSCE says Bakhmut becomes another symbol of Ukraine's invincibility. That means they don't lose, right? Invincible means you can't lose, you never lost, you can't lose. So Bakhmut becomes another symbol of Ukraine's invincibility. Right, and I want to know what changed, because as of now they are losing. That means they're not invincible. So let's see what kind of arguments they bring, what kind of evidence. Bakhmut has become another symbol of Ukraine's invincibility. Russia is trying to raise the city to the ground. Hey, stop right there. Your president-elect said that it's already razed, destroyed. He said that 2 days ago, on the 13th. So what? They're still trying? That's not the done deal yet? Sacrificing thousands of its soldiers to capture a few kilometers around the city since August. They've been trying. They didn't finish. They didn't finalize that. They didn't achieve that. And I'm quoting now. Despite the fact that a supposed 3-day military campaign against the Ukrainian state has already turned into a strategic defeat and bankruptcy of the Russian regime, Moscow is not giving up its hopes of turning the tide of the war. The shelling of recently liberated territories of Kherson region continues. Border areas of Sumy and Chernihiv regions are under constant fire. Yevgeny Tsimbalyuk, permanent representative of Ukraine to the international organization in Vienna, said at the OSCE Permanent Council meeting in Vienna on Thursday. Now, he added that Donetsk and Luhansk regions in eastern Ukraine remained a key hotspot. And I'm quoting again. Today, Bakhmut has become another symbol of Ukraine's invincibility as Russia tries to raise the city to the ground. But the question is, what for? The Kremlin sacrificed thousands of its soldiers just to capture a few kilometers around Bakhmut. So they did. From August. Just a few kilometers, which have neither tactical nor strategic meaning for the whole military campaign. Tsimbalyuk noted, well, if he says here that the Kremlin sacrificed thousands to capture just a few kilometers around Bakhmut from August, that means you lost. So where's the invincibility again? The diplomat stressed that Putin simply continued to draft young men for his bloody war of aggression and burn resources for his geopolitical failed gambles. Bakhmut is currently the hottest spot on the front. This is where the most artillery and other enemy strikes are concentrated. The greatest effort to break through the defense lines of the Ukrainian defenders. Oh, so they didn't break through yet, but they advanced a few kilometers. So where is the invincibility? And that's the end of the story, the end of the article. Did I miss something? Well, if I missed something, I hope I gave you the information, because I read the whole article to you and you heard it and you say, oh, you know what? Oh, I know what he meant. Oh, I'm glad for you, because for me it doesn't mean that they are not losing. At the most is the Russian advanced but slowly around Bakhmut, a few kilometers since August, die a lot of them, but they're advancing, and then he said at one point they cannot break through. So this is what I got out of this. I listen to other people on YouTube, I watch videos, I listen to the Russian Ministry of Defense, their reports, I discuss with other sources, blah blah blah, you know, and they tell me that the situation in Bakhmut is a done deal almost. It's the Russians are advancing, the Russians are pushing the Ukrainians back, but these guys are saying something else. I mean, they said, yeah, a few kilometers, blah 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 blah. Now remember, when that comes from the Ukrainians, they're not going to maximize the efforts or the, how do you call it, the successes of the enemies, which is the Russians, obviously, because they are a few kilometers. If they say a few kilometers, probably about, I would say about 50 kilometers. Okay, I'm just exaggerating, but usually that's the way it goes. And if they say how many Russians died, thousands of Russians. Okay, so no, they maximize the losses, minimize the success of the Russians. The reality is only they know who died and how many and what the situation is over there. And then they, how do you think these idiots, that the reporters, they give us the information? That's the information that the guys on the territory tell their superiors, the superiors give it to the acceptable centers of command for further being dispersed to us. And over there is said, okay, you don't say this, no, this doesn't go there, this doesn't go out, this stays here, modify that, say this. How do you think? And you got the editors. What do you think the editors are doing? They cut and yeah, this doesn't go that way, you change this, that's why they are editors. What do you think? They look for the spelling and grammar errors over there? Okay, yeah. Well, they look for the content, and the one who writes obviously knows what to write. He's not going to be a Russian from Sputnik writing for Ukraine Forum and vice versa. So whatever it trickles down to us, the information has been through many eyes and cut and paste and edit it and don't say this, yes, say this. That's the way it goes. Do you think that the big newspapers, and not only big newspapers, is not the same process? Nothing should pass by the editor, and the editor is the guy who knows the politics of the newspaper if the idiot over there who writes the author of the article doesn't get it. And believe me, he has to, because he works for that media outlet, and he knows exactly what he's supposed to say, what the media outlet inclination is, left, right, whatever. So anyway, the same here. Maybe we find out what the hell happened over there, but it seems like Bakhmut already fell. So the invincibility is a, I don't know what kind of term that is, but it's not the term you find in a dictionary. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.